want to stay with you right now, and let's put our MIBOR hat back on as president of MIBOR. What are some of the threats that agents and brokers and affiliates need to be mindful of in 2014, to the industry, to the economy, Central Indiana as a whole?
A couple of things. One, our membership is going up, and which is a good thing, but sales per agent therefore is down. So I think competition is going to be very stiff, and sometimes when competition is stiff, sometimes people feel the need to maybe not play by all the rules. So I think sometimes our cooperation that we're feeling amongst agents sometimes can be dangerous. So just wanting everybody to make sure that they are cooperating well, abiding by the rules that we go by. One of the things that came up in our market last year that was important to the board of directors to address was the pocket listing issue and the coming soon and those kinds of things. Because the feeling amongst our members was that was maybe not quite playing by our traditional rules of cooperation. So we did address that, put those things in place. Also, we're seeing outside third-party companies trying to enter our market, join our board in order just to access the listings. Not traditionally a company that wants to list and sell, but more or less wants to garnish leads and sell them back to us as agents. So we are seeing that entering our market as well, and we're monitoring that, and that goes against our VLC rules. They are not allowed to be members, but we have seen a lot more of that activity. I know that many of you may be getting calls and solicitations for giving your data to different organizations or companies or internet sources. And so data integrity and protecting our data, I think, is something that we have to really keep our eyes on.
Beth, let's go with you with the same theme here. What threats are you seeing? We just heard from president from an agent in the trenches day to day. What threats are you seeing that could be impactful for business for next year?
Well, first thing I'd like to say is I hate the word threat. No offense to you, but I think in your mindset, try to not get caught up in we're being threatened. And there will always be threats out there. I mean, threats of mortgage rates going up, the flood insurance, the health care. I mean, there are so many issues out there, the new people coming into the market. So what can all of us as professionals do? And I feel that all of us need to make sure we are up to date on all those stats. I'm going to steal something from Roger Lundy that he did at one of our business meetings, where he said, if we as agents don't know our own numbers, our numbers of what's going on, how counties compare to each other, we are no better than Zillow or Trulia, because those companies out there I go crazy with. I use them. However, they're out there telling our buyers what their home is worth, what their, should you rent or buy? Okay, so we need to be telling that story. We are the professionals. The access we have to information is mind-blowing. If we will just get on and use the MIBOR stats, how many of you have ever, I didn't really know about this until recently, where you can go in and compare the different counties. So you're talking about, new builds, what's going on. Compare the counties. It tells you the permits and everything. Because we may have clients that cross over from, county to county, or trying to figure out where should they land because they have to leave in 2 years or 5 years. So we need to make sure that we don't get threatened and that we know our stuff.
And Steve, so you kind of gave us a little bit of a preview, but go with the same thing in terms of what you started to talk about.
Okay, so we ended this year with, as I said earlier, just a few houses shy of 5,000. You go with our 10% growth rate, our growth projection, so we should have 5,500 permits in the 9-county metro area in 2014. The headwinds on the horizon that may impact our ability to meet that 5,500 homes supplied, we don't believe is demand. We think the demand's there, but according to a lot of the guys I'm talking to who are out there every day trying to put lots on the ground, who are trying to keep prices in check with what the market's demanding as commodities increase, as there's been a shift of labor supply where we had an abundance of labor supply to build 13,000 homes a year, and as we trickled down to 3,600 homes a year, that labor supply left the market. Along with that labor supply leaving the market, and I'll use this anecdotal information. 5 years ago, a builder on the north side, building in one of those marketplaces that have 70% of the market, had 13 lighting company sources to choose from to supply his house. He's got 3 now. That has shifted the balance of power. In the past, when there was a commodity increase, that supplier brought it to the builder could hold that supply, that increase off, because they knew there were 12 other options to go get those lights from, and it was competitive. Now with only 3 other options, those price increases are not able to be shielded back from the builder. That's all going to increase. So from our standpoint, we think the demand's there for 5,500. Can we supply it? Now, back to positives versus negatives. As I remind all the guys I talk to and gals in the industry talking about that, it's better to be worried about supply and the demand as opposed to 4 years ago when we didn't have the demand, we had all the supply we needed. So I think we're heading in the right direction, but the common theme you're going to hear are going to be lots, labor supply, and the last thing I'll say is as you talk about the warm fuzzy ice scraper, the weather not only is going to have an impact on us immediately as it relates to us being able to supply houses, but I think it's going to be a longer term problem. We have this bottleneck that has now been built up for the last 4, 5, 6 weeks, call it whatever time period you want. When we've had bad weather, we've had this bottleneck combined with lack of labor and supply that already existed. Now, when the weather breaks, we've got 6 weeks worth of houses that we need to catch up with all the labor and supply. Plus then that 6 weeks of new backlog that's built up, that could have a major impact on us, not just through the winter, but through the spring and maybe even through the rest of the year.